Tonight, all the day's major developing stories here on Prime.
We will not stand by and do nothing again.
The day after a deadly blast killed hundreds of people at a hospital in Gaza, President Biden stood next to Israel's prime minister and offered his support. The message Biden delivered to Israelis and the world as he became the first president to visit Tel Aviv during wartime. Plus,
my concern is that we will have members of the Jewish community say that it is easier to not be Jewish.
It's one of the most ambitious efforts to protect Jewish institutions in America. We take you behind the program kicking into overdrive as threats increase on a global scale. And
it's over. We have our answers that we've been seeking for 18 plus years.
Almost 2 decades after Natalie Holloway vanished in Aruba, the confession from the man long thought to be her killer. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including an interview with one of the leading spokespeople for the IDF as we try to learn more about the state of hostages being held by Hamas and Israel's attempts to save them, plus the fiery protests erupting near a U.S. embassy in Lebanon as fears grow over Hezbollah's potential involvement in the region's unrest. And the chaos enveloping Capitol Hill's Republican lawmakers try to coalesce around a speaker or a potential short-term solution as Congress flirts with ending yet another week without a Speaker of the House. But we begin with that high-stakes visit by President Joe Biden to Israel after that deadly blast at a hospital in Gaza that has only heightened tensions across the Middle East. Prime Minister Netanyahu met the president on the tarmac. You see the two leaders embracing there before meeting with cabinet officials. Biden's single message to Israel after his day of meetings, put simply, you are not alone. But he also cautioned them to avoid the mistakes America made after 9/11 and not to give in to rage. Biden also got Israel to agree to allow aid to cross into Gaza. You can see this fleet of trucks waiting to be allowed in. That aid is so desperately needed. New video circulating online shows the moment of that hospital blast. Hundreds of displaced Palestinians were taking shelter there. Tonight, the Department of Defense has independently concluded Islamic Jihad is responsible for that blast. Regardless of the perpetrator, the explosion has only inflamed matters with clashes near the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon today. Mola Langi has that part of the story. But first, we begin with our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, on that high-stakes presidential visit and what comes next.
Tonight, while air raid sirens reverberate across Israel, President Biden's message remains clear and steadfast.
I come to Israel with a single message. You're not alone. You are not alone.
The president arriving in Israel just hours after that deadly hospital explosion in Gaza that killed hundreds. Authorities there blaming the explosion on an Israeli airstrike, but Israel providing what it says was proof it was a misfired rocket from Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And President Biden agreed.
Based on the information we've seen to date, it appears the result of an errant rocket fired by a terrorist group in Gaza.
The president spent more than 8 hours on the ground in Israel, meeting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his war cabinet, vowing to ask Congress for an unprecedented aid package to defend Israel and to reinforce its Iron Dome. While the president shared emotional moments with first responders and families, Biden invoking the Holocaust, saying it brought back painful memories.
The world watched then, it knew, and the world did nothing. We will not stand by and do nothing again.
But as Israel Defense Forces poise for a ground assault in Gaza, Biden's embrace of the Israelis came with a gentle warning. Learn from the mistakes America made after 9/11.
Justice must be done. But I caution this while you feel that rage. Don't be consumed by it. After 9/11, we were enraged in the United States. While we sought justice and got justice, we also made mistakes.
The president concerned about the possibility of even more civilian casualties.
The vast majority of Palestinians are not Hamas. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people.
And tonight, President Biden speaking with Egyptian President al-Sisi by phone, saying Egypt will open the border crossing with Gaza to allow up to 20 trucks with humanitarian aid inside, likely by Friday, and pledging $100 million in aid to the Palestinians. But this was more than a diplomatic mission for Biden. It was personal, saying this late today aboard Air Force One.
People are looking for just something to grab, something that gives them some sense of hope. And that's, if I can do a little bit of that, then it's, it's worth doing.
So many desperate to hold on to some kind of hope. Martha Raddatz joins us now. Martha, the U.S. has sided with Israel, saying it appeared to be a militant rocket that has hit the hospital in Gaza. But do you think anyone across the region outside of Israel will believe that?
Unlikely, and that is an enormous problem. The president knows that emotions are high, anger is intense, especially after the hospital blast. And the administration worries that Israel's claims and intentions simply will not be believed, and that there is, frankly, little anyone can do about it, especially as civilian casualties rise. Lindsay?
Martha Raddatz reporting for us once again from Tel Aviv. Thanks so much, Martha. President Biden will address the nation tomorrow night in a primetime address from the Oval Office, discussing the response to the Hamas attacks in Israel and the war in Ukraine. We'll, of course, be streaming live on ABC News Live and Hulu at 8 p.m. Eastern. New clues are emerging following that deadly strike on a hospital in Gaza. Palestinians are blaming Israel. Israel, however, is denying responsibility, saying that they have evidence the attack was caused by the terror group Islamic Jihad. Our Ian Panel is in Tel Aviv for us once again tonight.
Tonight, new clues into that catastrophic strike on the Gaza hospital and whether it was a militant rocket or an Israeli airstrike. Video showing the moment of the blast. Experts say the sound of the impact could provide evidence.
That is the sound of a high-speed rocket. That is not the sound of an airstrike or of something dropped from an airplane or even an artillery shell. The high pitch is much closer to what you would hear from a rocket just prior to impact.
Video taken on the ground appears to show a large area badly damaged by fire. Experts say potentially from a rocket's unspent fuel. And there was no large impact crater and little of the structural damage typical of recent Israeli strikes.
You see a puncture hole and you see burned out cars. If it were a high explosive airstrike, it would create a giant crater and those cars would be blown out of the square.
The U.S. National Security Council today also saying its preliminary assessment is that Israel was not responsible for the explosion, citing intelligence sources. But for some, no amount of evidence will change their opinion.
Whatever justification, explanation you can put on it, many people are just going to conclude it's Israel's fault.
We didn't start. We have to fight. We have to fight.
Ian Panel joins us now once again from Tel Aviv. Ian, how is this particular airstrike different from other strikes that we've seen?
I mean, Lindsay, you've got the sound of the impact, that raging fire that we saw on the video, and also the lack of impact crater or any obvious damage to any of the buildings around there. That all indicates that this was different from many of the other thousands of airstrikes that we've seen since that October the 7th attack here in Israel. Now, we don't know for sure that it was an Islamic Jihad rocket. That is certainly what Israel is saying, and the United States is backing up at least part of Israel's position, and they've been given some of the evidence that Israel had. But either way, it was clearly a massive tragedy with many, many people killed and with huge consequences for this entire region. Lindsay?
A massive tragedy, no doubt. Ian Panel, our thanks to you as always. That hospital explosion in Gaza City, no matter who is at fault, has sparked fiery protests across the region, from the West Bank to Egypt and Jordan and in Lebanon. On Israel's northern border, protesters clash with police. ABC's Mola Langi is in Beirut tonight.
In Beirut tonight, we witnessed protesters rushing the American embassy, security forces pushing them back, using tear gas, water hoses, and rubber bullets. Amid the chaos, we take cover.
As you can see, protesters pushing back against security forces, starting by throwing rocks, launching fireworks. It's been a constant push and pull here between security forces and the protesters who are trying to push up against the American embassy. They say they are outraged at Israel's bombardment of Palestinian citizens and the U.S. support for it.
Across the region, fury towards the Israeli government and its ally, the United States, now at a boiling point. From Iran to Jordan, the deadly explosion at the hospital in Gaza further inflaming the demonstrations. Israel insisting it was not responsible. The U.S. saying intelligence backs that up. But for protesters here, that's evidence the Israeli-U.S. alliance is toxic.
America is the devil, the real devil, because he supported Israel.
In the West Bank, the anger growing. In Ramallah, ABC's Matt Gutman among the protesters.
Downtown Ramallah, this is a protest of unity. They're rallying in support of Hamas. They're rallying in support of Palestinian fighters. People telling me here the time for peace is over.
Those demonstrations quickly spreading across the West Bank. Protesters clashing with Israeli soldiers as the region smolders.
Certainly some incendiary scenes there. Mola Lange joins us now from Beirut. And Mola, does the U.S. Embassy plan to stay open during these protests?
Well, Lindsay, it's open now. It is operational now. We'll see what happens here in the coming days. The embassy was not damaged today during those protests, according to the U.S. State Department. Still, the State Department authorizing the temporary departure of the family members of U.S. government personnel who are stationed here. Much quieter on the streets of Beirut tonight, but as you can imagine, the military personnel here in Lebanon staying on high alert as they anticipate even more protests. Lindsay.
Mola Lange reporting from Beirut. Thank you so much, Mola. And for more on the situation on the ground now, I'm joined tonight by Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, spokesman for the Israeli Defense Forces. Lieutenant Colonel, we so appreciate you coming back on the show. As you know, there's been widespread outrage in the region over the blast at a Gaza hospital that has killed hundreds of people. Israel has, of course, strongly denied that it was responsible. And I know you've presented evidence to show the blast was not likely caused by an Israeli airstrike. Do you plan to release any additional evidence or more of your intelligence to prove your case to the public?
Good evening. Thank you for having me again. A pleasure. Frankly, I don't think that we should, and I don't think that the question is relevant anymore. This was a fake Hamas event that was staged and used out of proportion, unfortunately spiraled out of Gaza, and as you just showed, was used by anti-Israelis and Hamas supporters to stoke unrest and violence in many other locations. But really, any more evidence needed after we have shown, proven, and also the U.S. has said that, yes, we've seen and we concur with the conclusion that it wasn't done by Israel? What else is needed? Shall we perhaps have the commander of the Islamic Jihad on air and say, yes, these were our rockets? Will that be sufficient evidence?
The Israeli death toll is now higher than 1,400 since the terrorist attacks launched by Hamas last week. But since then, the Palestinian Health Ministry reports more than 3,000 deaths in Gaza. I know, of course, Israel has a right to defend itself. But at any point, do you think that a ceasefire should be on the table to try to avoid any more loss of Palestinian lives?
Well, you know, the best and swiftest way to prevent loss of life in Gaza would be for the terrorist organization Hamas to surrender unconditionally, return our hostages, and put an end to the fighting. That would save a lot of lives and save us the trouble of going in and doing it instead. Unfortunately, it appears as if Hamas is very committed to continue to hold people in Gaza hostage and to continue to fire rockets at our civilians and continue to use the civilian infrastructure for their purposes instead of supporting the civilian population. So it's a very sad situation, one that we did not start and we didn't want, but one that we definitely intend to finish.
So a ceasefire would be off the table?
I have no information about anything about it, and I know that our orders are to dismantle Hamas.
Israel has reportedly killed multiple leaders of Hamas in targeted strikes. Can you see any scenario where a full-scale ground invasion of Gaza would no longer be needed if more targeted operations of Hamas are successful?
So the aim of the war is to dismantle Hamas militarily completely. However, that can be done with the minimal amount of casualties and the minimal amount of civilians affected. That would be great. But based on previous experience and what we've seen in previous wars, not only ours, usually that kind of objective is achieved not only by aerial bombardment, but by ground operations. So in our mind, everything, all of the options are on the table. Our forces are ready and continue to prepare themselves for the next stage of operations. We continue to strike Hamas targets from the air, and we continue to do so while trying to minimize the effect on civilians, because we have said before, and I will say it again, the people of Gaza are not our enemy. It is the organization that controls Gaza, Hamas. They are our enemy, and at the end of this war, they will be gone.
I want to play a video of a young Palestinian and a question that she poses.
I have only one question. We as civilians, where are we supposed to go? We went to schools, they bombed schools. We went to the south, they bombed the south. Where are we supposed to go? Where is safety?
Lieutenant Colonel, how would you respond to that young lady?
I feel for her fears, and I can say that they are, there's mirror images of that fear and much more fear in Israel as well, and any effect on civilians is not what we're looking to do. And to that girl, I can say, if she and her family has already gone south, that's good. That is already safer. And where could she go? As far as possible from Hamas. Her parents should take her as far as possible from Hamas activities and infrastructure. Stay away from these vile murderers and people that are cowards who use civilians as their human shields. And if they try to use as human shields, resist against it and don't allow Hamas to do so. That is my message, because Hamas governs the Gaza Strip. It isn't Israel who governs. And we didn't start this war. We are responding to it. And everything that we do is in order to make the situation in southern Israel better. And I think also, if we'll come back to that lady in a few years, she'll be able to attest to it herself, that the situation without Hamas is much better than it was for the last 17 years that Hamas has been governing the Gaza Strip and created nothing but despair, poverty, war, and violence.
Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, we thank you once again for your time.
Thank you.
Tonight, as we learn more about the victims of the Hamas terror attack, an Arab-Israeli paramedic who treated Israelis injured at that music festival is now being remembered as a hero. Joining us now is Mohammed Darawshe, the cousin of Awad Darawshe, who was shot while bandaging one of the injured. Thank you so much for your time, and we are so sorry for your loss. Our thoughts are certainly with you and your entire family tonight. I'd like to talk about Awad more in a moment, but first I'd like to get to the idea that 20% of Israel's population is Arab, and you lead a center focused on bridging the gap between Israel's Jewish and Arab citizens. How challenging has that work been since the terror attack inside Israel on October 7th and the subsequent airstrikes in Gaza by Israel?
Well, it is more challenging than before. Usually it is very challenging. 20% Arab citizens in Israel have always suffered from discrimination by state institutions, not that much as tension between citizens. As human beings, most Jewish and most Arab citizens have known to work together. Actually, you said that we're only 20% of the population, but we are 24% of the doctors in hospitals and 44% of the nurses and 55% of the pharmacists. If you bring it to the political angle, there is a lot of structural discrimination that has been imposed on Arab citizens for many, many years. During time of crisis, we hear a lot of people that try to derail these relations.
And your cousin was an example of how Arabs and Israelis do frequently work side by side. What would you like the world to know about him?
Well, first of all, that he really was a selfless human being that was willing to hold the medical oath to its end, and he lived as a human being, and he wanted to be remembered as a human being, that someone that does not discriminate against people. And I think his message is very loud to the world, but mostly to the Israeli Jewish society. We're citizens, we're humans, we know how to be humans at the real test, at the real moment. And we expect Israeli Jews to treat us the same way.
Your family has lived in Israel in a majority Arab village for generations. What's the response in your village been like since the death of your cousin and also the terror attack in general?
Well, not only my village, but I would say the larger Arab community has been expressing in general opposition to the attack that was done by Hamas. but also opposition to the large-scale human cost on the Palestinians. The village, which has been ours, we've been living, our family's been living in this village for more than 20-some generations. And for us, this is home and this is homeland. And we support, and the majority support a two-state solution, which President Biden spoke about. And I had the honor of meeting with him also today during his visit. The key problem is to try to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian problem. And I think that this is the main sentiment that our community has, a sense of despair that what is happening is beyond our capacity to affect. It's like the big capital P politicians are playing the role, and we, the small p people, are not really able to affect the real picture on the ground.
It seems like in many cases, people are really drawing lines in the sand and digging into their different sides. How do you go about promoting a better sense of understanding between both sides, really?
Well, during time of war, it's very difficult to try to make that message come across. But the first thing that we do in our center, the Givat Haviva Center for Shared Society, is to try to minimize damage. So that this kind of action, we're trying to be in real time, trying to focus on minimizing the damage during the time of war, but also preparing ourselves for the day after.
Mohammed Darawshe, once again, we thank you for your time, and our thoughts are with your entire family in the loss of your cousin.
Thank you very much.
In Berlin, the German chancellor condemned a firebomb assault on a synagogue there. Police say assailants threw 2 Molotov cocktails early Wednesday at the synagogue in the center of the German capital. Anti-Semitic incidents in the country have been rising following the violent escalation in the Middle East. Police say they were investigating an attempted serious arson in which 2 people approached the synagogue on foot in the early morning hours and threw the firebombs, which burst on the sidewalk next to the building. The 2 people had their faces covered and ran away. This is back here. The New York City Police Department is taking every step it can to head off a further violence amid a heightened threat environment. ABC's senior investigative reporter Aaron Katursky has this report.
Tonight, a warning. The war between Israel and Hamas is increasing the chances of violence in the United States. A new intelligence bulletin says potential targets include individuals and institutions perceived as symbolic of or tied to the conflict. There are stepped-up patrols at synagogues in Los Angeles, more crowd control in Washington, D.C., and in New York, the nation's largest police force has called in reinforcements, instructing all officers to prepare to work 12-hour shifts.
There's a lot of tension that's taking place right now, and this can play out on our streets.
The FBI is not aware of any organized plots, but the fear is someone acting alone, like the man charged in the murder of a 6-year-old boy near Chicago. Wadia Al-Fayoum was buried this week after police said he was stabbed to death by his landlord because he was Muslim. Threats to Muslims and Jews in this country have already been increasing. Now, Lindsay, the authorities have deepening concerns. Spiraling violence in the Middle East could make things here at home more dangerous. Lindsay?
Aaron, thank you. Now to Capitol Hill, where it is day 15, still without a speaker. Congressman Jim Jordan failed on a second vote today, but vows he's still in the race. So what happens next? Here's ABC senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott.
Tonight, Congressman Jim Jordan failing again, losing even more support from Republicans to become the next speaker.
A speaker has not been elected.
Jordan taking meetings in every corner of the Capitol before the vote.
Do you have more support or expecting more opposition?
I know we've picked up a couple. We'll see, but I feel good about it.
But he did worse than yesterday, with Republicans flipping against him.
Ferguson. Scalise.
He could only afford to lose 4. Today, he lost 22.
Can Jordan do anything at this point to get your support?
Look, it's not a question of my support. It's a question of, do you have the votes to get to 217? And he doesn't.
The House has been without a speaker for more than 2 weeks. Now just 29 days until a government shutdown, and with President Biden calling on Congress to provide aid to Israel, even Republicans on Jordan's side say it might be time to consider other options.
The world is burning, and I don't think many people we represent want us spending days upon days deciding who sits in the chair.
Jordan tonight ready to fight for as long as it takes.
So to be clear, you're staying in this race. Yep. You're not considering dropping out.
Nope.
Very clear about his intentions there. Rachel Scott joins us now from Capitol Hill. Rachel, what's Jim Jordan going to do now in order to try to get the votes that he needs? And is there any other option on the table tonight?
Jordan told me he's going to keep having conversations with some of those holdouts, hoping that they will change their mind. But a growing number of Democrats and Republicans say it may be time to give the temporary Speaker of the House, Congressman Patrick McHenry, more power so that the chamber can get back to business. Lindsay, tonight there is immense pressure on those Republican holdouts, some of them telling me that they have been flooded with calls after right-wing activists posted their phone numbers online. Moments ago, one member just put out a statement, says she has received what she says are credible death threats, Lindsay.
All right, Rachel Scott for us reporting from the Hill once again. Thanks so much, Rachel. For the latest now on the battle for Speaker of the House, we're joined now by Republican Congressman Matt Rosendale of Montana. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. You've backed Congressman Jim Jordan, but at this point, can you see any scenario where he's able to get the votes he needs?
I do. Jim had 200 votes yesterday. He did lose one vote today. He's 199. But I think that he is having conversations with the 23 folks that did not vote for him. I won't even call them opposers, opponents. I think that they just have different issues that they needed to work through. It's a very tense time for us. Tempers have been hot over the last couple of weeks, and I really haven't heard anyone express any real major divide that was keeping them from voting for Jim Jordan. I myself have worked with him for several years now and seen him as a very strong leader. And I think that he will do a fine job as our next Speaker of the House.
Wasn't there a concern as far as him being an election denier? I thought that was, in fact, a problem from some of the Republicans who were saying that, look, you really have to admit that Trump lost the election in order for us to give us your support.
I think that there's a lot of people that voted against the electors, myself being one of them, because we had numerous credible allegations of fraud that took place in some of these states and wanted to see that information aired out and those measures checked into. And quite frankly, they never were. But I think that again, what you see from Jim Jordan is a true leader that has gone about the business of the people's work here in Washington, D.C., exposing a lot of fraud, a lot of corruption, and a lot of problems.
But you're not hearing any concern from your colleagues that to this day Jim Jordan will not concede that Trump lost the election?
Again, what I hear from the people that have voted against Jim is that they're just basically still mad at the process that has taken place over the last 10 days. Unfortunately, Kevin McCarthy did need to be replaced. He had lost the trust and confidence of the House of Representatives. If that wasn't so, Jim wouldn't have gotten 200 votes yesterday. Okay, he wouldn't have gotten 199 votes today. Jim Jordan is the second most popular Republican in the country, behind only Donald Trump.
Let me just push back for a second, Congressman, because I think that what we've been hearing, at least as a number of your colleagues, are simply saying, look, for the betterment of the country, we're going to hold our nose and vote so that we can all come together and give the aid potentially that we need for Israel, for Ukraine, and get the business of the country moving again.
Yeah, Lindsay, we've heard that from a lot of voters in a lot of states across this entire nation. But what I will tell you is they've done it not just once, but twice now. And what they're trying to do is just to find out what exactly are the concerns that the remaining individuals have. It's 23. He needs 17 of those members to go ahead and have that discussion with him. And I think that it'll happen.
So if you end up continuing to go in the wrong direction in the next few rounds of votes, is there another Republican out there who you think that more members could get on board with?
I don't, because if there was, Lindsay, they would have been nominated, and the House of Representatives would have rallied around that individual. This is not a closed process. Anyone can actually go down to the floor and nominate someone else.
Would you support at all the idea of giving more power to the temporary speaker, Congressman Patrick McHenry, so that the House can get back to work, just even on a short-term basis?
No, I think that would be a very big mistake. He was not elected by the conference. That was an appointment that was made. And you do not turn additional special powers and privileges over to someone that was just an appointment. I think it would be a very, very dangerous precedent, and I think it'd be the wrong thing to do.
So last question for you, Congressman, and this is really, again, in a plan B. If you got to break the glass because all else fails, emergency scenario, would you welcome Democratic support if that's what it took to get consensus on a speaker that both sides could live with?
We already saw the Democrats break the glass and pull the fire alarm a couple of weeks ago when they were trying to delay actions on the House floor, and that never works out well. I think that we've got a nominee. He's an extremely strong candidate, and we need to take the time that's necessary for him to resolve any of the issues that some of these outstanding members have so that we can get Jim Jordan elected as Speaker of the House.
Congressman Matt Rosendale of Montana, certainly appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, Lindsay.
The city of Orlando will vote on a proposal to purchase the Pulse nightclub property. That's according to our Orlando affiliate WFTV. The $2 million proposal will turn the site into a memorial to those killed in the Pulse nightclub shooting 7 years ago. Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer said in a statement, quote, "We believe that this is the best and most appropriate way to expedite the creation of a proper memorial for the Pulse tragedy." And still ahead, the deadly crash along a busy California highway and what we're learning about the victims. But next in our prime focus, the Israel-Hamas war prompting heightened tensions here at home. Our Alex Perez talks with the organization charged with protecting the nation's Jewish community.
We know we can't stop every attack. We know people are going to be successful in hurting other people. But if we can mitigate the number of people injured or killed, that is what we need to do.
Whenever news breaks,
the crush of families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Welcome back, everyone. The increased tensions in the Middle East are also having an impact right here at home. Even before the Hamas terror attack, despite being just 2% of the population, Jews are the targets of more than 60% of crimes motivated by religion. That's according to the FBI. In tonight's Prime Focus, our Alex Perez takes a look at the threats facing the community by embedding with the official safety and security organization of the Jewish community in North America.
As Israel wages war against Hamas after the October 7th massacre on Israeli soil, and as the situation for Palestinians in Gaza becomes increasingly dire, Thousands of miles away in Chicago, one group is working around the clock to prevent an attack on Jewish communities right here in the United States.
What are we looking at here?
So we're looking at here is really the number 37 is actually the active now that is some type of threat incident near one of our facilities.
So there's 37 active threats
right now.
The SCN, or Secure Community Network, formed after 9/11, mans this high-tech command center 24/7. The threat is real. Just this morning, a synagogue firebombed in Berlin, assailants throwing 2 Molotov cocktails at the place of worship in the center of the German capital. Brad Orsini, Senior National Security Advisor for SCN, says the number of threats here in the U.S. has tripled since the start of the war in Israel, from about 20 a day to now about 60 a day. SCN has 75 security directors spread out across the U.S. In total last year, they tracked more than 13,000 threats.
You say you can see something and then react and relay that information. What does that reaction entail? You contact the security director, and then what happens?
Yeah, so it depends. It depends what the incident is. There's many different utilizations of this platform. That's just one of them. If something happens at one or near our facilities, we're able to quickly identify it, get any open source reporting on it, and coordinate with our assets on the ground in that particular area. And our goal is really to mitigate threats.
Using that real-time information, the group monitors Jewish assets across the country, synagogues, community centers, schools, and other places of gathering, nearly 19,000 of them, keeping tabs on online threats, hate groups, and following up on tips, with the ability to alert local and federal law enforcement in seconds, notifying authorities of 770 incidents last year alone.
Looking at the big map of the country here, I see blue location markers, I see these red ones, and I see these bigger sort of...
Yeah, so the blue markers are our Jewish assets. These are the assets that we have geofenced throughout the country. And so you're going to see layer over layer, obviously, at big Jewish communities, New York City, Washington, D.C., Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and then spread out. The big paddles are really these threat events to the community right now, and then the little red paddles are just incidents that are happening across the United States. And the bigger paddles are the ones that our folks are really focusing on now.
Orsini, who spent nearly 30 years with the FBI, says he and the SCN team also travel the country, providing Jewish communities with hands-on training on how to survive an attack.
We train our community to mitigate the loss of life. We know we can't stop every attack. We know people are going to be successful in hurting other people. But if we can mitigate the number of people injured or killed, that is what we need to do.
The U.S. is sadly no stranger to attacks. Orsini, among those who responded to the 2018 assault at Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, the deadliest attack on the Jewish community in America. 11 killed, 6 wounded. In 2022, an armed man took 4 hostages at Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas. Authorities killing the suspect after an hours-long standoff. At SCN, the blown-out doors from that Colleyville attack and the chair riddled with bullet holes from the Pittsburgh attack are kept in the office. A deliberate reminder, says SCN National Director Michael Masters.
They're a reminder of the worst of humanity, and they are also a reminder of what can happen when we as a community come together and stand strong, and we can make a difference. We can save lives, and it is a message that no one is going to shut us down.
According to the ADL, 2022 saw the highest number of anti-Semitic incidents since they started keeping records, nearly 3,700, and new threats now growing in number every day.
How concerned are you, really, when you see such a huge increase over the last several days?
My concern is that we will have members of the Jewish community say that it is easier to not be Jewish than to express who they are. It's easier to not send your kids to Jewish camp or to not go to synagogue. And the second we do that, we've lost something not just as a Jewish community. We've lost something as a faith-based community. We've lost something as an American community when religious freedom from any group is put under peril.
They hold on to hope. Masters says that one day Jews will no longer be targeted. Until then, he says, their work to identify threats and thwart attacks will never end. Alex Perez, ABC News, Chicago.
Intensified certainly lately. Our thanks to Alex Perez for that. Still much more to get to tonight on Prime. Coming up, the violent courtroom brawl that led to a suspect's escape in Texas. But next, mortgage rates hit their highest level since the mid-2000s. We'll take a look at the housing market by the numbers.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5. Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For nonstop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel.
From the front lines.
In downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC News Live.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, mortgage rates are soaring, meaning now may not be the best time to buy a home. Let's take a look by the numbers. 8%. Let that sink in. That's what the rates on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage topped out at today. August of the year 2000, more than 23 years ago, that's the last time rates have been this high. The higher rates have already caused mortgage applications to plunge by 7% from last week. 3%. That's what the rate was 2 years ago. To put this all in perspective, if you bought a $400,000 home with a 20% down payment, you would have a monthly payment today of nearly $1,000 more than if it would have been 2 years ago. The Federal Reserve does not directly control mortgage rates, but it has raised interest rates 11 times since March of 2022, a historically fast pace as it sought to get runaway inflation under control coming out of the pandemic. The Fed's benchmark interest rate remains at its highest level in 22 years, between 5.25% and 5.5%, a level that's led to major costs for consumers on everything from mortgages to car loans to credit card interest rates. A group of housing associations is urging the Federal Reserve to hold off on additional rate hikes to try to lower mortgage rates. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. The stunning murder confession from the prime suspect in the disappearance of Natalie Holloway. Plus, our DeMarco Morgan sits down with one of the last survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre to talk about how the city's new generation is rebuilding.
It all began so beautifully. Suddenly, there was a shot. Mrs. Kennedy's leg was stained with her husband's blood. She said, I want them to see what they have done to Jack. The commentator was saying, Lyndon Johnson, now President of the United States. That was when the enormity struck me.
I was walking onto a stage for a part I had never rehearsed. I ought to record this.
Dr. King's been shot. Senator Kennedy had been shot. But Vietnam dominated the news. What is our country coming to? Are we a sick society? I felt extreme hostility in front of Mrs. Jacqueline Kennedy. Was it because I was alive? The greatest courage is to go about the day's work. That's a large order for a woman.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live. This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
Wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Getting you behind the stories as they happen.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Streaming free on ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
4 women hit and killed by a car in California. A suspect on the run after a courtroom brawl in Texas. And a major airline is changing its boarding process. These stories and much more in tonight's rundown.
A
A deadly crash on a coastal highway in California. Authorities say 4 women were hit and killed after a 22-year-old driver was speeding and lost control of his car. 2 others were hurt on the scene. That driver is facing manslaughter charges.
There was nothing so bad that he deserved to die.
A Florida man released after serving 16 years in prison for a crime he did not commit was shot and killed by a police officer during a traffic stop in Georgia. 53-year-old Leonard Cure was released in 2020 after serving 16 years for a robbery in Florida. Police say Cure was pulled over and complied with the officer's instructions until he was being arrested. Cure was tased, then hit with a baton before being shot and killed. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations is investigating.
What happened last night is a part 2 of a criminal episode.
A traffic stop gone wrong escalated into a car chase that resulted in the death of a Texas police officer. Police say the San Benito officer pulled over a speeding car. When the driver got out of the car to be questioned, the passenger then jumped into the driver's seat and took off. The suspect then switched cars, and as police caught up to them, opened fire, killing the officer. The suspect is facing multiple charges, including capital murder.
A brawl erupted in a Texas courtroom after a victim's family tried attacking the killer. The fight caused so much commotion that a man awaiting trial in the courtroom next door managed to slip out the door. Officials say 32-year-old Michael Devin Combs broke out of his leg shackles and escaped the courthouse. Combs is now on the run. Police say he has a history of domestic violence and violated his bail agreement after testing positive for meth. Elon Musk's social media platform X is testing out a new feature. Users in New Zealand and the Philippines who sign up for the service will be charged $1 to access basic functions like posting and liking content. The company says it's only a test, and the fee will not apply to existing users. And United Airlines is starting a new boarding process in an effort to speed things up. The airline will no longer go back to front in the economy section. Later this month, people with window seats will board first, followed by people in middle seats, then those along the aisle. Travelers in first and business class will board the same way they always have.
A dramatic twist in the Natalie Holloway investigation. The prime suspect at the center of the case made a stunning confession. Joran Vandersloot says he murdered the Alabama teen nearly 20 years ago. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, nearly 2 decades after Natalie Holloway vanished during a school trip in Aruba, the suspect at the center of her case, Joran Vandersloot, confessing.
Today, I can tell you with certainty that after 18 years, Natalie's case is solved. Joran Vandersloot is no longer the suspect in my daughter's murder. He is the killer.
Holloway last seen leaving a bar in Aruba with Vandersloot in May 2005. Court documents showed the Dutch national now telling investigators the two were kissing each other on the beach. When she refused his further advances, Vandersloot bludgeoned her with a cinder block laying on the beach, then disposed of her body in the ocean before walking home. In an interview today, Holloway's mother, Beth, telling ABC News the family's nightmare is over.
It's a very victorious day to reach this point in a long journey.
Vandersloot's apparent admission, part of a plea deal in a federal extortion case, accusing him of demanding $250,000 from Beth Holloway in 2010 in exchange for information about her daughter. Before receiving his 20-year sentence in federal court today, Vandersloot apologizing to Holloway's family, saying in part, "I am not the same kind of person today as I was then. I have given my heart to Jesus Christ." But tonight, Natalie's father, Dave Holloway, releasing a statement saying Vandersloot is evil personified.
Our thanks to Ariel. In 1921, the Tulsa Race Massacre devastated a prospering black community when a white mob ravaged their neighborhood of Greenwood. The result, the destruction of hundreds of businesses and thousands of homes. And while 36 deaths were reported at the time, many experts believe that number was much higher. ABC's DeMarco Morgan took a trip back home to Tulsa to share the resilience of his community and sat down with descendants and one of the last survivors of that massacre to see how the city's new generation is rebuilding.
This is Black Wall Street, part of the Greenwood District here in my hometown of Tulsa. And although many know it from its dark history, residents and descendants want it to be known for what it truly is, a place of resilience, hope, and black excellence. At the University of Tulsa, I sat down with professor and archaeologist Dr. Alicia Odewale, who's leading a research project to dig up more of Greenwood's past.
So as an archaeologist, what exactly is it that you do?
My day-to-day life is more about working with my community. We do a lot of mapping and archival research before we ever go out and dig anything.
What have you uncovered so far?
We found bullets and barbed wire next to doll parts, next to wind-up toys, next to marbles. For a lot of people, they think of the Tulsa Race Massacre as something that is just a war among men. They tried to wipe out families and children. There are stories in here about machine guns being perched on Standpipe Hill, shooting into the crowd, so we can actually follow up on archaeologically and see if there are any archaeological evidence that connect to these stories.
And barbed wire, where someone could have been tied up, or?
These are narratives that are coming out, bearing witness to people being actually wrapped with barbed wire and then dragged through the streets. That's part of the story.
As part of the massacre?
Yeah. The artifacts are bearing witness to things that we don't have in our history books. And, you know, Greenwood never left.
Greenwood never left.
Yeah.
At the Greenwood Cultural Center, I met up with my former schoolmate, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, who was thrust into social activism following the 2016 police killing of her brother, Terrence Crutcher.
What is your mission right now?
In the center of our work is honoring the legacy of our ancestors and make sure that future generations never forget this story and that they learn about the story. We believe that we can rebuild Black Wall Street.
What keeps you going?
Racial healing is simply acknowledging truth. And I believe that Tulsa is the microcosm of what's happening across this entire nation. These survivors are holding on. I traveled with them to Congress, and they sat there saying, we believe we deserve justice. We still believe in America, even though they've been through the worst times.
And for my last stop,
knock, 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 knock.
A visit to Mother Randall.
Look at this superstar right here. How are you, Mother Randall?
Oh, I'm fine.
Good to see you. I wanted to bring you some flowers.
Thank you so much.
With the recent passing of Hughes Van Ellis, she's one of the last 2 Tulsa Race Massacre survivors left.
You have to feel amazing that this is your legacy right here. What are some of the stories that she's told you over the years?
Some of the things that Grandma has seen and experienced, she doesn't want to talk about because it's like she relives it all over again.
After years of seeking reparations for that trauma, an Oklahoma judge dismissed the survivors' lawsuit in July, but an appeal has since been made.
Knowing that, you know, the lawsuit was dismissed, that hurt all of us. But I told her we're not going anywhere. We want to leave a legacy for her to build up North Tulsa, build it up back the way it used to be.
And is this you right here too?
I don't know who that girl is.
That's you.
I was the girl in those days.
So your birthday is coming up. 109 years old. You got a birthday wish?
I would like to see all of my people here trying to make this situation better, to bring some of those things to life, so people will know that it really is true. There's room for a lot more improvement.
She needs to see justice in this lifetime. So does Mother Fletcher. That's what they need to see in this lifetime while they're still alive.
And we hope she gets to see that birthday wish come true. Our thanks to DeMarco for bringing us that. That is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, the fiery protests across the Middle East following that deadly attack at a hospital in Gaza. Plus, what's next in the battle for the Speaker of the House after Congressman Jim Jordan failed on a second vote?
Wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Getting you behind the stories as they happen.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Streaming free on ABC News Live. From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel. From the front lines.
In downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it. Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now. This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yeah. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin with that high-stakes visit by President Joe Biden to Israel after that deadly blast at a hospital in Gaza that has heightened tensions across the Middle East. Prime Minister Netanyahu met the president on the tarmac. You see the 2 leaders embrace there before meeting with cabinet officials. Biden's single message to Israel after his day of meetings, simply put, you are not alone. But he did also caution them to avoid the mistakes America made after 9/11 and not give in to rage. Biden also got Israel to agree to allow aid to cross into Gaza. You can see this fleet of trucks waiting to be allowed in. That aid is desperately needed. New video circulating online shows the moment of that hospital blast. Hundreds of displaced Palestinians were taking shelter there. Tonight, the Department of Defense has independently concluded Islamic Jihad is responsible for the blast. But regardless of the perpetrator, the explosion has only inflamed matters, with clashes near the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon today. We begin with our chief global affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz, on that high-stakes presidential visit and what comes next.
Tonight, while air raid sirens reverberate across Israel, President Biden's message remains clear and steadfast.
I come to Israel with a single message. You're not alone. You are not alone.
The president arriving in Israel just hours after that deadly hospital explosion in Gaza that killed hundreds. Authorities there blaming the explosion on an Israeli airstrike, but Israel providing what it says was proof it was a misfired rocket from Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And President Biden agreed.
Based on the information we've seen to date, it appears the result of an errant rocket fired by a terrorist group in Gaza.
The president spent more than 8 hours on the ground in Israel, meeting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his war cabinet, vowing to ask Congress for an unprecedented aid package to defend Israel and to reinforce its Iron Dome. while the president shared emotional moments with first responders and families. Biden invoking the Holocaust, saying it brought back painful memories.
The world watched then, it knew, and the world did nothing. We will not stand by and do nothing again.
But as Israel Defense Forces poise for a ground assault in Gaza, Biden's embrace of the Israelis came with a gentle warning: learn from the mistakes America made after 9/11.
Justice must be done. But I caution this: while you feel that rage, don't be consumed by it. After 9/11, we were enraged in the United States. While we sought justice and got justice, we also made mistakes.
The president concerned about the possibility of even more civilian casualties.
The vast majority of Palestinians are not Hamas. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people.
And tonight, President Biden speaking with Egyptian President al-Sisi by phone, saying Egypt will open the border crossing with Gaza to allow up to 20 trucks with humanitarian aid inside, likely by Friday, and pledging $100 million in aid to the Palestinians. But this was more than a diplomatic mission for Biden. It was personal, saying this late today aboard Air Force One.
People are looking for just something to grab, something that gives them some sense of hope. And that's, if I can do a little bit of that, then it's worth doing.
So many desperate to hold on to something during this time. Our thanks to Martha for that. New clues are emerging following that deadly strike on a hospital in Gaza. Palestinians are blaming Israel. Israel, however, is denying responsibility, saying they have evidence the attack was caused by the terror group Islamic Jihad. Here's ABC's Ian Pannell in Tel Aviv for us again.
Tonight, new clues into that catastrophic strike on the Gaza hospital and whether it was a militant rocket or an Israeli airstrike. Video showing the moment of the blast. Experts say the sound of the impact could provide evidence.
That is the sound of a high-speed rocket. That is not the sound of an airstrike or of something dropped from an airplane or even an artillery shell. The high pitch is much closer to what you would hear from a rocket just prior to impact.
Video taken on the ground appears to show a large area badly damaged by fire. Experts say potentially from a rocket's unspent fuel. And there was no large impact crater and little of the structural damage typical of recent Israeli strikes.
You see a puncture hole and you see burned out cars. If it were a high explosive airstrike, it would create a giant crater and those cars would be blown out of the square.
The U.S. National Security Council today also saying its preliminary assessment is that Israel was not responsible for the explosion, citing intelligence sources. But for some, no amount of evidence will change their opinion.
Whatever justification, explanation you can put on it, many people are just going to conclude it's Israel's fault.
We didn't start. We have to fight. We have to fight.
Our thanks to Ian for that. The hospital explosion in Gaza City, no matter who's at fault, has sparked fiery protests across the region, from the West Bank to Egypt and Jordan and in Lebanon. On Israel's northern border, protesters clashed with police. ABC's Mola Langi is in Beirut tonight.
In Beirut tonight, we witnessed protesters rushing the American embassy, security forces pushing them back, using tear gas, water hoses, and rubber bullets. Amid the chaos, we take cover.
As you can see, protesters pushing back against security forces, starting by throwing rocks, launching fireworks. It's been a constant push and pull here between security forces and the protesters who are trying to push up against the American embassy. They say they are outraged at Israel's bombardment of Palestinian citizens and the U.S. support for it.
Across the region, fury towards the Israeli government and its ally, the United States, now at a boiling point. From Iran to Jordan, the deadly explosion at the hospital in Gaza further inflaming the demonstrations. Israel insisting it was not responsible. The U.S. saying intelligence backs that up. But for protesters here, that's evidence the Israeli-U.S. alliance is toxic.
America is the devil, the real devil, because he supported Israel.
In the West Bank, the anger growing. In Ramallah, ABC's Matt Gutman among the protesters.
Downtown Ramallah,
This is a protest of unity. They're rallying in support of Hamas. They're rallying in support of Palestinian fighters. People telling me here the time for peace is over.
Those demonstrations quickly spreading across the West Bank. Protesters clashing with Israeli soldiers as the region smolders.
Some incendiary sites there. Our thanks to Mola for that. In Berlin, the German chancellor condemned a firebomb assault at a synagogue there. Assailants threw 2 Molotov cocktails early Wednesday at the synagogue in the center of the German capital, according to police. Anti-Semitic incidents in the country have been rising following the violent escalation in the Middle East. Police said that they were investigating an attempted serious arson in which 2 people approached the synagogue on foot in the early morning hours and threw the firebombs, which burst on the sidewalk next to the building. The 2 people had their faces covered and ran away. This is back here in New York City. The police department is taking every step it can to head off future violence amid a heightened threat environment. ABC senior investigative reporter Aaron Katursky has this report.
Tonight, a warning. The war between Israel and Hamas is increasing the chances of violence in the United States. A new intelligence bulletin says potential targets include individuals and institutions perceived as symbolic of or tied to the conflict. There are stepped-up patrols at synagogues in Los Angeles, more crowd control in Washington, D.C., and in New York, the nation's largest police force has called in reinforcements, instructing all officers to prepare to work 12-hour shifts.
There's a lot of tension that's taking place right now, and this can play out on our streets.
The FBI is not aware of any organized plots, but the fear is someone acting alone, like the man charged in the murder of a 6-year-old boy near Chicago. Wadia Al-Fayoum was buried this week after police said he was stabbed to death by his landlord because he was Muslim.
Aaron Katursky reporting for us. Now to Capitol Hill, where it is day 15 without a speaker. Congressman Jim Jordan failed on a second vote today, but vows he's still in the race. So what happens next? Here's ABC senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott.
Tonight, Congressman Jim Jordan failing again, losing even more support from Republicans to become the next speaker.
A speaker has not been elected.
Jordan taking meetings in every corner of the Capitol before the vote.
Do you have more support? Are you expecting more opposition?
I know we've picked up a couple. We'll see, but I feel good about it.
But he did worse than yesterday, with Republicans flipping against him.
Ferguson. Scalise.
He could only afford to lose 4. Today, he lost 22.
Can Jordan do anything at this point to get your support?
Look, it's not a question of my support. It's a question of do you have the votes to get to 217? And he doesn't.
The House has been without a speaker for more than 2 weeks. Now just 29 days until a government shutdown, and with President Biden calling on Congress to provide aid to Israel, even Republicans on Jordan's side say it might be time to consider other options.
The world is burning, and I don't think many people we represent want us spending days upon days deciding who sits in the chair.
Jordan tonight ready to fight for as long as it takes.
So to be clear, you're staying in this race. Yep. You're not considering dropping out.
Nope.
He is defiant. Our thanks to Rachel Scott. Rain and wind in the Midwest tonight is setting the Northeast up for yet another wet weekend. Let's go now to ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano, who's tracking it all for us. Hey, Rob.
Hi, Lindsay. Yeah, hard to believe it's going to happen again in the Northeast, but it's also happening really across the country. This is the second coast-to-coast storm we've had in just over a week, and this one's very dynamic as well. We had 75-mile-an-hour winds in Montana, near 60 in South Dakota. This low itself right now is over Minneapolis. We're getting rain pushing into Milwaukee and then Chicago. And it will have some wind and rain with it as it goes over Michigan and Ohio, gathering strength Friday morning. But look at the low off the coast of the Carolinas. That develops during the day on Friday. That's only going to enhance the rainfall as we go through the day Friday night into Saturday morning. That's when the heaviest rains will fall from D.C. up through New York City and up into the Northeast as well. Lingering showers throughout the day on Saturday. Some folks will get a break and see some breaks late day. All right. In the west, we're looking at the Ridge Building. More heat. We saw near record-breaking temperature or in record-breaking temperature today in San Francisco and Seattle, Sacramento tomorrow, Phoenix tomorrow, Missoula, Montana as well, 75 degrees. The heat continues in the west. Lindsay?
All right, Rob Marciano for us. Thanks so much, Rob. And still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, Darius Rucker talks about his musical journey and who he's dedicating his new album to. But next, the out-of-control wildfires scorching the Bolivian Amazon.
whenever news breaks.
The crush of families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Everything is so fine, little bit of sunshine. Dance more, just a little bit. Breathe more, just a little bit. Smile a little more, and I'm into it. I've been running through the strange life. Pictures on my phone, like everything is so fine, little bit of sunshine.
Good morning, America.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Reporting from Hiroshima, I'm Britt Clennett. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Police say assailants threw 2 Molotov cocktails early Wednesday at the synagogue in the center of the German capital. Anti-Semitic incidents in the country have been rising following the violent escalation in the Middle East. Police were saying they were investigating an attempted serious arson in which 2 people approached the synagogue on foot in the early morning hours and threw the firebombs, which burst on the sidewalk next to the building. 2 people had their faces covered and ran away. President Vladimir Putin praised Chinese President Xi Jinping during his second known trip outside of Russia since the Ukraine war. In a meeting between the 2 leaders in Beijing, Xi also said both countries have deepened their mutual political trust, as he noted that they have met 42 times in the last decade. The visit to Beijing was Putin's second known trip abroad since the Hague-based International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for him in March. Massive wildfires have swept through thousands of acres in Bolivian Amazon, according to local officials. Forest fires have destroyed crops in the Santa Cruz region and ravaged thousands of acres at a national park, which serves as a gateway to the pristine Amazonian rainforest. Helicopters have been deployed to help firefighters and authorities on the ground. And still to come, our candid conversation with Darius Rucker about this second act in his music career.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel. From the front lines.
In downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC News Live.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about, the new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward,
with some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
All right, welcome back, everyone. If Darius Rucker's music career had ended in the 90s after his turn as lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish, it would have been considered a remarkable success. But his second act as a solo country artist for the past 15 years is the stuff of legend. So ABC's Phil Lipoff recently sat down with Rucker to discuss his unique musical journey and his new album, Carolyn's Boy, dedicated to his mom, who didn't live long enough to see it all unfold, in our latest Prime playlist.
Just wanna sit around and play.
Country music powerhouse Darius Rucker churning out huge hits like Beers and Sunshine.
Yeah, the only BS I need is beers and sunshine.
All Right.
I got all I need, and it's all right by me.
And For the First Time.
When was the last time you did something for the first time?
His cover of Wagon Wheel becoming a smash hit.
So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel.
Streamed more than 600 million times. And only one of 4 country songs ever to be certified diamond, meaning 10 million units sold. It's an amazing and rare achievement, especially when you hear how his country career began 15 years ago in Nashville.
I was told to my face by several people that they didn't think their audience would ever accept a black country singer. Ever was the word, ever. Even the guy who signed me was told that if he signed me, he'd be the laughingstock of country music because it's just never going to work. And he took his chance, and we went out and we did what we did.
Just like he did almost 2 decades before that with his first iconic Grammy-winning band, Hootie and the Blowfish. With Rucker's distinctive voice, the band's debut release, Cracked Rear View in 1994, produced 3 top 10 hits right out of the gate. Hold My Hand. Let Her Cry.
Just let her cry. If the tears fall down like rain.
Then Only Wanna Be With You.
I only wanna be with you.
All of that just a few years after his biggest supporter, his mom, died of a heart attack when he was 26.
When she died, Hootie and the Blowfish became a mission. I wanted it before. I was willing to go play all the clubs and do all the things, but like when she died, it was my sole focus was making sure that we got a shot. And when my mom died, that intensified like crazy.
After winning 2 Grammys and playing with Hootie and the Blowfish for more than a decade, Darius turned to Nashville, releasing his debut solo country album in 2008. His first single, Don't Think I Don't Think About It.
Don't think I don't think about it.
Now, his 2023 album release, simply called Carolyn's Boy, is dedicated to his mom, who truly believed his success would happen, but never got to see it.
At the end of the day, you're just your mom's boy. You're just your mom's son.
What does it mean to be your mom's son?
It means to be kind. It means to care. It means to work hard. She was just special. We grew up with not much, but she was always helping people and always making sure we were, helping people.
The new album's lead single, written during the pandemic, over Zoom.
Everybody's down here, we're going crazy. Don't know how to fix it, but I think maybe turn on the good times, turn off the TV. Yeah, the only BS I need is beers and sunshine.
The only BS I need is beers and sunshine. How does something like that happen? Because everybody hears BS all day long, but they don't think beers and sunshine.
Exactly, and I think when we were writing that song, we had been on lockdown for a couple months. It was early in the pandemic, and it was just started out being about that. And when we came up with that line, we went around and around about it. And I actually said they're not gonna play it on the radio.
Well, just because it's BS?
Because of the word BS.
Yeah,
but then it just worked, and it was just so right. It was exactly what we wanted to say. The only BS I need is beers and sunshine.
From a young age, Darius had eclectic music tastes.
Growing up in an all-black neighborhood and everything, I took a lot of grief, especially from my cousins who also lived in the neighborhood. Who would, come over to the house and I'd be singing, Charlie Pride or Charlie Rich or something, or singing some Kiss record. And, they'd come in and start, why are you singing that white boy music? What are you listening to that? My mom would always, I remember one time she grabbed my cousin Frank by the collar and just threw him against the door and told him, you better leave me alone and let me listen to whatever I want to listen to.
That's right.
And, and I always say, if I didn't have her doing that, if she was part of the chorus of You Can't Do This, I wouldn't be here.
His biggest defender showering him with unconditional love, leading to this deeply personal song in 2014, So I Sang.
No one believed in me as much as Mama. See, she worked overtime to buy my first guitar.
I had to stop playing that song because I cried almost every time we played it. Everything about it is about me. It's about me growing up. It's about, every song that we mentioned in there is a song that meant a lot to me. And that's one of the most, I've written a lot of songs, but one of the songs I'm most proud of is So I Sang, because I've never been, that's about as honest as I could be right there.
Pop, country, whatever Darius is writing, he says he writes to connect.
That's the genius of music.
Yeah.
Is that you can write about something that people do every day, but you do it the right way and with the right words and the right melody, and, people love it because they can relate to it.
Like Sarah, off Carolyn's Boy.
You happened to put Sarah together with Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
I'm curious how that came about and what it was like to write with him.
We just kept talking about we're going to write someday. And finally, I just said, forget it, and got in a plane and flew to England when he was off. And we started writing. And the first song we wrote, he asked me, in the middle of the song, he said, who's your first love? And I told him it was my 5th grade girlfriend.
The beginning of that is so beautiful.
Sarah, I know it's been about 30 years since I heard from you. I just love it.
I mean, 30 years later, does it blow your mind that that's what you do for a living, that that's what you get to do for a living?
You have no idea. And this is as honest as I can be with you. I've been, Hootie and the Blowfish, we've been playing for 40 years, almost. We've been a band almost 40 years. And ever since I was 4, all I wanted to do was sing.
And now you can reach out to people.
Yeah.
Like anybody, get a call from Darius. Yeah, sure, let's go write.
Yeah.
And then it becomes this bigger playground for you.
And that's a great thing. That's what it is. It's a playground that just happens to be my job. And I love it.
That love and his tremendous success now helping to pave the way for other black country artists.
One of the things I'm most proud of, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my success and it's great, and I hope I get to play as long as I want until I want to retire. But seeing Kane Brown, seeing Mickey Guyton, seeing the War and Treaties, I'm so proud of that, because I know one of the catalysts was when they told me it wouldn't work on my first record. We had 3 number ones in a top 5, and that proved that you're wrong.
And one of his favorite moments of the last 40 years, validation that loving a band like Kiss as a black child in the South was, as his mom told him, just fine.
If that was one of the most full circle moments of my life, when Kiss gave us that Grammy.
You got grief for listening to Kiss.
I got so much grief for listening to Kiss from my family. So much grief, because I loved Kiss. I listened to them all the time when it was for a couple of years, and when they gave me our second Grammy, that was such a full circle moment. It was unbelievable.
The other one was Tupac, right?
Tupac and Kiss.
Tupac and Kiss.
And Kiss and makeup for the first time since '79.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
It was unbelievable.
It's mind-blowing.
It was unbelievable.
And yet believable if you're a fan of his voice, his ability to write hit songs, and you know how his mother made him feel, like anything was possible.
I grew up in the church in the South, and my spirituality is very important to me. It was just part of our lives.
Does it make you believe that your mother is seeing all of this?
Absolutely.
You know that in your heart.
I believe 100%. I really believe in my heart that she's the reason. She got to heaven and she pulled her strings and did the manipulations, and here we are 30 years later, and I'm still getting to talk to you. That's pretty crazy.
Mom's still watching down. Our thanks to Phil for bringing us that. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, the ABC News app, and of course on abcnews.com. Have a great night.
first thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.